Hello and welcome back to Outside Views, where we critically examine the real-world impact of significant political decisions. And today we're delving into the complex and often tumultuous story of how Brexit has truly reshaped the British car manufacturing sector since the 2016 referendum, and that right up to the present day. And this isn't just about gleaming new models or impressive sales figures. It's about the intricate shifts in trade relationships, the gnawing uncertainties over investment, and the profound re-evaluation of the UK's position within the global automotive supply chain, all leaving an indelible mark on what was once a cornerstone of British industry. The British car manufacturing sector has indeed experienced a complex and largely negative influence from Brexit, with its impacts deeply intertwined with other significant global challenges, presenting a picture of a sector grappling with new trade barriers, increased supply chain complexities, and pervasive investment uncertainties. And one of the most immediate and profound impacts of Brexit stems from the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, the TCA, implemented in May 2021, which introduced new rules for trade between the UK and the EU, fundamentally altering the operating environment for car manufacturers. A critical aspect for the automotive sector is the rules of origin, which stipulate that to qualify for tariff-free trade between the UK and the EU, a substantial 55% of a vehicle's value must be locally sourced from either the UK or the EU. If this threshold is not met, a punitive 10% tariff is automatically applied to trade, a condition that holds significant implications, especially for electric vehicles, where the high costs of batteries, often imported from Asia or the US, can constitute up to 50% of a car's total value. The SMMT, a leading industry body, estimated that the imposition of EU tariffs on cars could add an annual £2.7 billion to imports and a staggering £1.8 billion to exports, directly impacting the profitability and competitiveness of UK-made vehicles. For instance, Jaguar Land Rover, a prominent British manufacturer, projected an annual cost of up to £1.2 billion solely due to the new frontier crossings and associated bureaucracy introduced under these new rules, highlighting the considerable financial burden placed on businesses. Beyond tariffs, Brexit has severely disrupted the automotive industry's pervasive just-in-time manufacturing model, which inherently relies on the seamless, tariff-free movement of components across international borders. The reintroduction of customs checks and a myriad of administrative burdens has led to increased border delays, to substantial higher transportation costs, and necessitated that manufacturers hold larger stocks of imported parts, all of which incur significant additional storage expenses. Consider, for example, that certain components may now traverse the English Channel multiple times during the complex production process, rendering them subject to new taxes and customs duties at each crossing, turning efficiency into an expensive logistical nightmare. Honda, a major player, estimated that even a mere 15-minute delay at the border could cost the company an astonishing £850,000 annually, while Ford anticipated the need for 115,000 customs declarations for its imports alone, illustrating the immense bureaucratic load. Furthermore, the ongoing divergence in regulations between the UK and the EU, despite the TCA's aim to minimize it, continues to pose challenges, as the necessity for the UK to develop its own standards and approvals adds layers of complexity and potential non-tariff barriers, inevitably increasing costs and diminishing competitiveness in the long run. The period since the 2016 referendum has witnessed a significant and undeniable decline in UK car production, though it's crucial to acknowledge that attributing this solely to Brexit is complex, given the confluence of other concurrent global events. In the pre-Brexit years of 2018-2019, the UK proudly produced around 1.5 million vehicles annually, a figure that dramatically plummeted to 859,000 by 21 and further to 779,000 by 24. And recent data from May 2025 reveals a concerning month-on-month decrease, with only 47,723 units produced, marking a substantial 31.5% drop compared to May 24, and year-to-date figures for 25 at 319,000 units are down 9.7% compared to the previous year. Despite this decline in overall production, the UK automotive sector remarkably remains a strong exporter, with a significant 77% of UK-built cars, amounting to around 600,000 units in 24, destined for international markets. However, car exports in 24 were down by 15.5%, with over half of these, specifically 54%, still going to the European Union, underscoring the persistent and indeed critical importance of the EU market despite the complexities introduced by Brexit. The value of UK car exports in 2024 reached £28 billion, with exports to the United States contributing a substantial £7.7 billion, representing 27% of the total by value, demonstrating a degree of market diversification alongside continued reliance on European trade. With overall EU-UK trade in goods increased by only 1.7% between 16 and 24, a stark contrast to the 51.8% growth in EU world trade over the same period, the EU's share in total UK trade in goods has paradoxically increased from 46.2% in 21 to 52% in 24, suggesting a continued, albeit potentially slower, reliance on EU trade post-Brexit. In March 25, UK exports to the EU showed a modest increase of 1.6%, while imports from the EU increased by 0.9%. Yet specifically for cars, imports from Germany reportedly fell in March 25, painting a nuanced picture of trade dynamics. The pervasive uncertainty surrounding Brexit has proven to be a major deterrent to investment in the UK automotive sector, with overall investment purportedly halving as manufacturers delayed crucial decisions on new model production or plant expansion. Companies such as Nissan and Toyota have in some instances scaled back their investments, demonstrating the tangible impact of this uncertainty on major industry players. While some new investments have been announced, notably Nissan's new EV plant and battery factory in Sunderland, these are frequently contingent upon substantial government support and are primarily driven by the broader global transition towards electric vehicles. The increasing pressure to meet the aforementioned rules of origin requirements is a key impetus for investment in domestic battery manufacturing, yet the UK faces formidable competition from well-established initiatives like the European Battery Alliance, Tesla's Gigafactory near Berlin, and the substantial incentives offered by the US Inflation Reduction Act for securing vital battery ecosystem investments. In terms of employment, the motor vehicle manufacturing industry directly employed 139,000 people in 2023, representing about 0.4% of all UK employees, with an additional 548,000 individuals working in sales and repair. Brexit has undeniably contributed to a discernible shortage of skilled labour, particularly from the EU, leading to increased recruitment costs for businesses and exerting upward pressure on wages, further challenging the sector's operational efficiency. While overall employment in the EU automotive sector has seen growth, the UK has continued to face significant challenges, with Unite the Union expressing concerns about potential layoffs stemming from low plant utilization, painting a grim picture for the workforce. It's crucial to understand that the decline in UK car manufacturing is by no means solely attributable to Brexit, as other significant global factors have played a major and often disruptive role. The global semiconductor shortage, severely exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, and widespread supply chain disruptions delivered a profound blow to car production worldwide, leading to substantial cuts in 21 and 22, with some estimates suggesting a loss of up to 100,000 units in UK plant production due to chip shortages alone. And furthermore, The irreversible global transition to electric vehicles is fundamentally reshaping the entire automotive industry, demanding massive investments in new vehicle platforms and battery production and a complete transformation of existing supply chains. And while this paradigm shift undeniably presents a monumental opportunity, the UK's ability to attract and secure sufficient investment in gigafactories is critically important to avoid future tariffs and to maintain its competitive edge, especially with the UK's zero-emission vehicle mandate still being in discussion. It was supposed to accelerate the transition, but yeah, that's a thing. But the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic, with its resultant factory closures and demand shocks, caused significant production drops in 2021, further compounding the challenges faced by the sector. Additionally, broader global economic conditions characterized by persistent economic downturns and soaring energy prices and escalating raw material costs have collectively impacted the sector's overall profitability and, of course, influence crucial investment decisions. And while these external factors have undeniably caused widespread disruption, Brexit has simultaneously created a more challenging underlying environment with its new trade barriers, increased bureaucracy, and reduced access to skilled labor, and with that making the UK a demonstrably less attractive investment location compared to its pre-Brexit standing. And this unfavorable environment has undeniably hindered the UK's ability to fully capitalize on the burgeoning EV transition and effectively recover from other global shocks, leaving the industry recovering from the pandemic, but in a more fragile state due to post-Brexit staff shortages and elevated energy costs. Looking forward, the British car manufacturing sector faces a distinct set of current challenges and emerging opportunities in this evolving post-Brexit landscape. Among the most pressing challenges is the impending tightening of the rules of origin in 2027 for electric vehicles, which poses a significant threat if sufficient domestic battery manufacturing capacity is not established within the UK, potentially leading to widespread tariffs. And the increased costs stemming from tariffs and from customs complexities and supply chain disruptions collectively make UK-made cars less competitive on the international stage, eroding their global appeal. And furthermore, the pervasive uncertainty and new barriers continue to reduce the UK's attractiveness for foreign direct investment when compared to its EU counterparts, hindering future growth and innovation. And the sector also continues to grapple with persistent labor shortages, particularly in skilled roles, alongside intense global competition from both established and emerging EV manufacturing hubs. However, amidst these formidable challenges, genuine opportunities are also beginning to emerge for the British automotive sector. The profound global shift to electric vehicles offers a massive market opportunity for British manufacturers to develop cutting-edge new vehicles and powertrain technologies, provided the necessary significant investment in domestic battery manufacturing can be successfully secured in the long term. The stringent need to meet the rules of origin requirements strategically incentivizes investment in local component and battery production, which could in turn lead to a strengthening and greater resilience within the UK's automotive supply chain. Moreover, the UK government has demonstrated some commitment to this sector, offering approximately £2 billion in funding specifically for automotive, including for zero-emission vehicle manufacturing and for supply chain development, alongside displaying flexibility in the ZEV mandate. While the EU undeniably remains a crucial market, the UK's renewed focus on pursuing new free trade agreements, for instance with the United States, could potentially open up other valuable export markets, but they will never offset the losses from before. But immediate benefits from these agreements have to date really been somewhat limited. And in conclusion, Brexit has undeniably exerted a substantial and predominantly negative influence on the British car manufacturing sector, introducing new trade friction, complicating intricately woven supply chains, and significantly dampening overall investment appetite. And these factors have collectively rendered the industry more vulnerable to external shocks, layering on additional costs and bureaucracy and strategic disadvantages, particularly in its vital relationship with the vital EU market. And the sector's long-term future heavily relies on its ability to attract and secure significant investment in gigafactories to meet the increasingly stringent rules of origin requirements and to adapt effectively to the irreversible global shift towards electric vehicles, all within a uniquely challenging post-Brexit landscape. So thank you for joining me on Outside Views for this comprehensive and vital look into the enduring impact of Brexit on British car manufacturing. And if you found this analysis insightful, please remember to like this video, share it with those who might benefit from this perspective, and subscribe to Outside Views for more in-depth explorations of the forces shaping our world, and that one critical topic at a time. And until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and always remember to look for the outside views.